Liverpool v. everybody. I got my man Gerri back to have some talk. Um, we haven't been able to speak since the performance at Anfield, so I wanted to get your thoughts on that, and then we'll get into some other topics. And first off, I think the main question or concern had to probably be around for the game started the midfield, and we were talking about the build up for the lineup. I think it was probably the lineup in totality that most people thought. I think there were some people having some shouts for Ox, maybe some few shouts for Naby Keita, even a few for Milner. When you saw the lineup, was it a lineup that you thought would happen, even if you had other thoughts, and were you okay with that lineup when you saw it?
Yeah, it was a lineup that I thought that club would pick, and and again, as I said, I was okay with it because
Yeah,
it is a brilliant team after all. It's got 11 great players in it. Um, and some players that receive a lot of criticism stepped up in that game massively.
yeah,
So I thought, yeah, the lineup obviously maybe a few shouts maybe for Ox and stuff, and as I said, Ox is doing his job, man, scoring another goal for England. You know what I mean? So he's making it difficult for Klopp, but yeah, maybe he would have. I'd said before the game I would have wanted him to start, but if he didn't, I'd have no problem with it. So the lineup was what I expected, and I was completely fine with it.
yeah. We'll get to Ox in a minute because it's definitely worth talking about. I mean, every situation or opportunity this guy gets, whether it be internationally or with Liverpool, he seems to be doing pretty well. To the lineup, though, I think all three of those guys played well, and we needed that in a game like that. Obviously, Fabinho get some plaudits for the goal, Henderson for the assist, but to me, Genie was probably one of the standout guys in the team, let alone the midfield. And I noticed how good he was the first time watching it, but I had to really watch it again to really appreciate what he did in that performance. And it's performances like that that had me talking about him a couple weeks ago as being a world class midfielder. But that to the side, because for us, for Liverpool supporters, I think we all probably agree with that statement. No matter what other people think, but just talking about Genie's performance, man, and how that kind of performance, if we can get that on a more regular basis. Look, we're going to have games where he's the Genie we know of, where sometimes he can kind of ghost in and out of games, but that kind of performance, if we can get that on a regular basis, I mean, he doesn't really miss out on starting matches anyway, but that kind of performance, I mean, how can he really be usurped in the lineup?
Yeah, I mean, Ronaldo was incredible. I mean, I told you he's a big game player. Ronaldo, isn't he? He's also just
Very true.
he was so good. Yeah, and the amount of times he just dribbled past. And what's underrated about Ronaldo is his dribbling.
Hmm.
His ball control is fantastic. The amount of times he just glided past City players so easily, kept the ball. He doesn't lose the ball with Ronaldo. Never loses the ball. He was incredible, fantastic on that left side of the midfield for
Yeah.
me. Defensively, brilliant as well, and even going forward, offered us energy and spaces and movement going forward as well. So it was just a top class performance. I said he was actually my man of the match. I
Yeah.
mean, everyone was man of the match, but he was
Exactly.
maybe he just edged it because there were some incredible players there. I mean, I thought Trent was fantastic,
Hmm.
absolutely incredible. I thought he was. I thought Lovren was brilliant as well. I thought Van Dijk was Van Dijk, of course. Alisson was very good, especially with his distribution. I thought he was fantastic. Um, Robertson, top class again. Brilliant ball for the Salah goal. Fabinho, what a strike again, showing Rodri how it's done.
Yep.
Henderson, I thought was absolutely incredible. What a ball for the third! What a ball for the third goal! And I actually said before the match, I didn't tell you, but I actually said before the match, I said that this is going to be a very high intensity match, and I said get Henderson off after 60 minutes
Hmm.
because I thought get me if the game's won, get Henderson after 60 minutes, and Milner came on and did the job, didn't he? So
Yeah.
he was brilliant in the end. As a genie, and the front three is just fantastic. It was just a world class performance from us.
Yeah, and that's what again, like I said earlier, that's what we needed, and you hoped that would happen, and you can't leave that game with any disappointments from Liverpool. From my standpoint, I mean, everyone to a man just stepped up and just really really impressed with how they continue to truck on. Just briefly about City, uh, what do you think? So in the first 4 or 5 minutes, even though we score in just under 6 minutes, I think it was 5.5 somewhere. Those first few minutes, it seemed like City really came to play. They had a few set pieces, a couple throw-ins within that first 4 or 5 minutes. Do you think at any moment amongst that block of time, were you concerned? Did you feel like, this is what Liverpool do? Sometimes they got to really get into a game. Klopp talks about it. Sometimes we kind of need a punch in the mouth, whether it be a goal against us or just activity from the other team. Were you concerned at all in those first few minutes?
Um, well, actually, what happened was they were getting corner after corner, weren't they? And it
Yeah.
was kind of like, I mean, City started strong. City started how I sort of expected them to start, because
Hmm.
that's how City start, don't they? Playing football, and they played more football than they did the other year. Remember
Mm.
last year,
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah.
obviously because of the situation, wasn't it? The situation for them was, a draw wouldn't be bad, but they kind of have to win. So you know what? It sort of played into our hands, didn't it? That counter-attacking football. It was a similar game to the 4-3 one a couple of years ago.
Yep.
That's the sort of game it was. But yeah, it was sort of how I expected anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of reminded me of one of the legs in the Champions League, um, where we kind of just blew past them. I think it might have been 3-0, 3-1, something like that. But yeah, I think the heads were gone in that first after that first goal, and we'll get to the penalty in a second. But I think once we score that first goal, and then in quick succession with the second one, I just think that was it. I mean, obviously at that point in the game, it is City, so you really can't say it's over. But it definitely felt like it was, and it felt like a situation where, in past seasons, maybe you'd say, yeah, City will get back into this just because of the maybe the lack of mentality. Maybe a couple seasons ago that Liverpool had to keep leads against teams like that. But I mean, do you think it have been? I mean, it doesn't matter now. I mean, he didn't choose it, and for us, it's no big deal because we won the game. But just to have a conversation about it, do you think he would have been he meaning Pep would have been better off playing defensive like he did? I don't even know if we'll say defensive, but just maybe cautious like he did the first game last season. Because last season, I believe it was. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it? Did we meet them and both teams were undefeated at the time, or did they lose one at that point?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I don't know if. Oh, I guess they were still recording. Yeah, I think there was a bad connection there. Did you hear my question?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I heard your question. Sorry. Yeah,
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah. It was a one game, so basically it was just one draw each at the time in October.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, because who did we draw to? Was it
We drew
Arsenal?
to. Yeah, no, we drew to. That was in November. We drew to Chelsea when Sturridge scored that strike.
Ah, right, right, right,
And
right, right, right. Okay,
they drew to Wolves away.
okay,
Um,
okay. So
they drew
both
to
teams had one draw.
yeah, both teams had one draw.
Okay, okay.
So and then it was like and at that point it was like our front three sort of not really at it. Do you remember when it was like we weren't up front?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So I think both teams weren't really at it, to be honest with you. But
yeah.
yeah, they played defensively, didn't they, that game? But I don't think his team can defend really. I don't think he can be.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess that's yeah. You gotta. That's
And
worth mentioning because.
yeah, and I think, look, if we were more clinical that day, I think we had Gomez arrive back that day as well. And you
Mm,
saw how much Trent does for us going forward, and Trent
yeah,
was on the
yeah.
bench that game. So that was obviously a big difference. And I just don't think we were really at it. I remember Milner got injured half an hour through. Keita came on, and Keita wasn't really at it at that point as well.
Hmm.
So it was, we had no Fabinho as well. So it was just a lot of things that weren't really, I think we're just a much stronger team now in terms of, the depth, the
Yeah,
positions, there's more of a set, like, the team that we're going to play every week. And that to a certain extent, that's good because it keeps the rhythm going. The players know what they expect of each other. That's what I'm saying. With City, I think they chop and change too much. You know what I mean? I think it's good to rotate your squad, but at the same time, you want to make as little changes as possible because if you make too many, four, five, five, six, it ruins the tempo, the rhythm of the team, the momentum. It's sort of, you know what I mean. So this is why I like Klopp. He doesn't really care about resting players, resting players. He rests them when they need to be rest, not just for the sake of it. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think as I said with City, right? I think they've only really got one way of playing. I think we would have beaten them last year as well if we were much better going forward, which we weren't. So And we had a few chances that game. We could have lost that game as well. So it was just that last year's game was boring. But this year I enjoyed it a lot, a lot. So it was I was only on 2 hours sleep as well. So it was the momentum and the adrenaline of the match that was keeping me going through the match. But yeah, what a match! I mean, I still can't believe it that it looks now, we're 9 points clear, but trust me, come January, that point is going to be at more than double digits. It's going to be, I say more than double digits. I mean, more than 10. It's going to be more,
Yeah.
12, 30. It's going to be a lot because if you compare the two the teams, and the fixtures they have, there's no chance City, are going to be closing that gap down even more. No chance.
Yeah, we'll get to that and the league and all that in the bit because not that I have concerns, but it is City, and I know they're looking pretty banged up right now, and definitely more banged up now this time than they were last year. So yes, they do have some crucial games coming up, and a lot of the teams that we've already played. Even think of a team like Sheffield United. I went through their upcoming fixtures the other day, and
Mhm.
I think there might be only one team on that list. Maybe I think it was Newcastle or something, and even them they could possibly get something. But of all those
Oh, City.
teams,
Yeah.
yeah, they got some tough games, and
Tough
and
games. That's what I was going through as well.
meanwhile, I mean it's a Premier League, so essentially every game is tough. But you know what I mean. And then for us, most of those games look winnable. So, but just to round it off, I do want to speak about the penalty or lack thereof, and just get your opinion on it. I'm not going to talk too much about the second one. I think at that point, City were just desperate and they were just trying to get anything in the box that was clearly not a handball.
Yeah.
But I said this
That's good.
in some of my videos that I've seen those given that happen to Trent. But just walk me through that. Are you one who feels like it needs to be mentioned that Bernardo Silva touched the ball with his hand, or do you feel like that's more of an
Yeah.
inadvertent thing, or just what's your thought about the whole penalty thing?
Well, I think the first goal, sorry, the first penalty, sorry, the second one's Pep just making excuses because he knows he's
Yeah,
lost the
yeah,
match.
right.
Um, the first one is debatable, very debatable. I think it's one that, if it goes against you, I think we'd all be screaming right now and calling Michael all of the names.
Mm-hmm.
But this is why I don't think it's a penalty. Not just because I'm a Liverpool fan,
Mm-hmm.
but because that ball strikes Bernardo Silva before. It
Mm-hmm.
strikes Bernardo Silva's hand before, and it goes onto Trent. You know what I mean? So maybe the hand is in it's in the unnatural position. People say it's natural, unnatural. I'm not too sure. I think Trent maybe sort of leans towards it. He puts his sort of shoulder towards it on the right, and
Yeah,
it sort of But I think the main thing is Bernardo Silva can't be handballing it there. You know what I
yeah,
mean? He can't be handballing it. So for me, that's not a penalty. And we go on to score, play on.
yeah. And the thing I took, and I agree with everything you said, but to me, it's more of you play to the whistle, and I think there's people who brought up the idea that if Aguero goes through the motions and just keeps playing, they had a chance to get a shot on target there. But it's like right away he's looking at the ref instead of just playing to the whistle. And I think Oliver right away just gives the sign of no pen, let's keep playing. I think
Yeah.
it goes back to the whole clear if it's a clear and obvious error. And to me, it just wasn't. I just don't think it was. And like I said, we'll probably see similar situations like that given. I think I probably have, but I think we also won't see them, and like we did on Sunday. So it's one of those things. It's a close
Yeah.
call. I don't feel sorry for City, of course. I don't feel like that was the unfortunate part, and it is what it is. I had a feeling this game would have some sort of controversy. It just had that kind of build up. You just knew
Love it.
something was going to happen. And it's a shame because it's glossing over what I think was a great game and just a really great performance from Liverpool.
Do you know what? Do you remember what I said before the match? I said to you, I'd love if I don't know if you remember or not. Do you remember when I said I'd love to be C with a controversial decision?
Yeah,
I,
yeah, I do
you
remember
know
that.
what? I love it. I love
Yeah,
it. Pep can keep on complaining. You know what I mean? Yeah, let them overshadow because we battered them anyway. I don't know
yeah,
what his excuse was. We were 3-0 up after 50 minutes, and then when we took our foot off the gas, we absolutely battered them, and
yeah.
we could have scored more and more because we
That's what I
made them
keep
look
saying.
like. I mean, we made them look like a B team. We made them look like
Hmm.
reserves, our reserves. So we absolutely destroyed them. Again, what did they do? What did Aguero do? He can't score at Anfield. What did Kevin De Bruyne do? He got absolutely shut down.
Yep,
Sterling, nothing. Apart from fine our players. We got on his head. You look at the midfield, Gundogan, nothing. Rodri, nothing. Fernandinho, nothing. Angelino was actually putting some good. He was
He was one of the
brilliant.
best players, I thought. Him and Sterling.
Angelino,
Yeah,
Angelino going forward was brilliant. I mean, the amount
yeah. I was
of
shocked at how good he was, man. Really,
absolutely, yeah, he
shocked.
was. The deliveries he was putting in was brilliant. But the other way, Salah, very naive of him, pressing up to Salah, and Salah got in behind in the field
Mm-hmm.
so many
Mm-hmm.
times. So that
Mm-hmm.
showed their weakness. I mean, as I said, City great going forward, defensively. I mean, they're not good enough, and they showed it. The way they collapsed. Um, so yeah, I mean, listen, as I said, we got the 3 points. I don't care what about the controversial decision. I'm
Mm-hmm.
really not interested in what Pep says because it's not as though it was 0-0. It was a boring match, and it was we got up and we got up the other end of the score. You know what I mean? It's like we would have battered you anyway.
Yeah.
So even if Fabinho didn't score that, and so Pep Guardiola is making excuses for his team's poor defending once again.
Yeah.
Trying to say like I mean, we got robbed when they clearly didn't. We just taught them a football lesson.
Yeah, I think if he's honest, he'll be he can have the fake rage and the fake disappointment about the penalties, but in actuality, he's got to have some disappointment in his team and the lack of discipline to be so-called this goat manager, the guy who changed football. Your team is lacking discipline. I mean, how do you run to the ref instead of play? Clearly, there was no whistle blown. So how do you just give up on the play? You got
How do you?
Gundogan. It's just yeah. It's just weird. And again, I think the players on the pitch, particularly Sterling, really took on the mentality of Pep in that game. I mean, they both of them had just lost the plot. Their heads were gone. They realized that Liverpool is such a strong team, 2-0 down at Anfield, and this is a place where Kevin De Bruyne says, doesn't get the best of them. It's not intimidating. I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell. And I think they had chances that they finished in their sleep. But there's something about playing at Anfield that just really gets to them. I mean, last season, okay, they came play kind of cautious and they almost got a win, but they still didn't get a win. So there's something about that stadium and those players that they just can't rise to the occasion. And it's been proven every time they play there, whether it be Champions League,
Aguero,
Premier League, whatever.
Aguero would have had the hat trick if it wasn't Anfield.
Yeah, any other game, any other pitch, he would have had a hat trick.
You know what
You
I
know,
mean?
he gets yanked at the. I don't know if it was a 60th minute, 70th minute, but
Yeah,
it's just lovely to see that this team, this expensive team, all this whole idea that they're the underdog coming in because they got all these injuries, and you got Big Head on Sky talking about the goalkeeper situation and the injuries. It's like, bro, did you not realize how many games
don't,
we didn't have our goalkeeper?
don't get me started, Vincent Company.
I
Oh,
mean, you got to stop with the excuses. This Liverpool has had their fair share of injuries as well, and we keep fighting. Whether it be
that,
VAR going against us, whatever, no one made. Now, see, if the tables were turned and we lost, especially at home, and we had the same kind of situations with these supposed VAR penalties, whatever, people would have been saying, "Stop crying," whatever. But because it's City, it's like people just jump on with the excuses and make excuses for them. And some of these people are respected people that I like their football intellect and their opinions on football. But when it comes to City, it's amazing that people continue to make these excuses for a team who's probably one of the most expensive teams assembled of all
yeah,
time.
exactly.
It's not my fault that he didn't buy other center backs when he could have done that. It's
Yeah,
not my fault that they don't have a better keeper in their mind. So I don't want to hear all that
yeah. No one told him to go buy Cancelo. You know what I mean? Like,
and not play him. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. No one told him. No one told him to put Mendy on the bench. Not to put Mendy
Now
not on the
that
squad.
is really bizarre to me. But yeah,
You know
I
what I
don't
mean?
know
So,
about that.
can someone just tell me the injuries that they actually had? All right, let's just go through it. So they had their front three: Bernardo, Aguero, Sterling. That's their front three every week. They had Rodri back for the game. Okay, there you go. That's the mid DM. They had De Bruyne and they had Gundogan. All right, that's their first race midfield.
Yep.
Angelina at the left back. Their best left back Mendy was not on it was tactical apparently. All right. They had
Yeah.
Otamendi and Stones. That's Oh no, sorry, not Otamendi. That's Fernandinho and Stones. All right,
Hmm.
Laporte. That's their miss there. That's Carl Walker. And they had Edison out. So two players out, and they've got all these players that they spent. They've got Otamendi, £35 million play on the bench. They got 50 million international Joe Stones. They got Fernandinho. That's like 40 million. That cost 40 million a few years back. That's big money. That's like 80 million right now if you compare it. That he's in defense. They got a 60 million Rodri. I mean, what excuses are you? So whose fault is it for the second goal for leaving for pushing up all high to Trent and leaving Robertson and Akers a space to put the ball in?
Yep.
Is it tactical genius there? The Pep Guardiola tactical genius? I mean, is that tactical genius? No one's pointed that out because 5 players closed down on Trent. Trent literally played the ball over the top to Robertson, who had all the time and space to put it in the dangerous area. No one told him to do that. You know what I mean, I'm not interested in excuses, mate. I'm not interested in the excuses that's coming out. As I said, don't get me started on Big Ed. Oh my word, he was. I mean, I don't know because you were watching it on a different one. So, but I was
Yeah.
watching. I was sitting here watching Vince's Company for around 2 hours speaking.
Oh
Um,
God, yeah, I couldn't do that.
he was in my head then talking about Pep Guardiola and well, the Pep Guardiola who dropped you for every single game until the running, where he knew that your experience,
Right,
where
right.
he knew where he knew that your experience valued in the title race. And usually for the last 10 games of the season. Because other than that, he was injured or on the bench. But when it came to the last few games, obviously you want your leader to be there, so he saved him for that one. So and he shoved you out the door and said we don't need a centre back. So I'm not interested because he would have signed the contract anyway if they offered him one. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm not, as I said, Pep Guardiola can talk about VAR 2 times, twice, all of that nonsense. All I know is we're 9 points clear, and that gap is only going to get bigger and bigger. So get ready, Pep, because it's not going to get much easier for you. I can tell you that.
No, I don't think so, and I think Chelsea's going to be a tough game for them after international break. But let's move past that.
Oh yeah,
You
quickly, Bernardo Silva gets a 1 game ban for that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
It's a
I'm
joke.
not surprised. It is a joke, and I guess they call themselves, trying to come down on racism, and let's try to make a. I guess they think they're making an example of him by doing that. I don't know. I think it could have been worse. It probably should have been worse if they want to make an example. But it's why I don't really feed into the whole kick it out and no room for racism because it's all a joke. I think the
I mean,
idea that. Go ahead.
yeah, quickly with that hashtag. I mean, kick out. I don't understand what that's supposed to do is
It's a
because
joke,
I,
man. It's
I
an
could put
absolute joke.
I could put out hashtag I stand with racism and kick it out, but what is that actually doing for the game?
Nothing.
What
Nothing.
forget the game. What's it actually doing for society? Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
so I
Yeah,
didn't.
it's just their way of saying, well, at least we spoke on it. At least it's a joke. I talking about the Bernardo Silva thing or racist issues in general irritates me. Number one, for the obvious reason, because we shouldn't really be talking about that, to be honest. In society, yes, but definitely not in the football grounds and anything around it. But also, it's pointless because nothing's being done about it. And honestly, I hate to be pessimistic about it, but I just don't see anything being done about it. There's so many examples, far too often, almost every other week, about somewhere on this planet football happening and racism being involved, whether it be the fans, whether it be whatever. So the idea, this is the last thing I'll say on it, but the idea that to me, Mendy plays a role in this as well because and guys like John Barnes who kind of just make it seem like it's okay, it's not that bad. In this case with Bernardo Silva, it's like it was a friendly joke, and the idea that people in 2019 think that that's a joke, and even if it was, if you're having a friendly joke with your friend and Mendy's okay with that for whatever reason, keep that on WhatsApp. Keep that through your texts. There's no need for you to bring that on social media. So I think his stupidity, because look, I don't know if he's racist or not. I don't know one way or another. I'm not totally positive that he is or he isn't. But my point is, if that's something that you're gonna do with a friend and it is a quote unquote joke, there's no need for you to bring it up. So for the stupidity, and I also don't believe that he's that ignorant. I mean, there's too many things going on these days that you should know that's not okay, and that's just my opinion. But 1 game ban, 50,000, I
I,
think it is. That's like pocket change for him. That's not really
yeah,
major. So again, it's another slap on the wrist, and it is what it is.
yeah. I think he gets that. Having to sleep overnight, 50,000.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it is what it is. But it was great to see that he was pretty much a non-factor in the game as well.
yeah.
But
Well, at least he's
good.
banned for a big game. I think Chelsea's a big game. At least he's not missing like a
Oh, he's
burn.
banned for that game. He's banned for the very next game.
Yeah, he's banned for
Oh
Chelsea.
wow, wow.
That is
Yeah,
a mismatch.
that's not gonna hurt. That's not gonna help them anymore. Their situation any more than what they
And
got. But
as you said, I mean, if you're gonna do something like that, right? What is the point of putting it on Twitter? Do you know what I mean?
that's
I
what I'm
don't
saying. Like, just for
understand.
the stupidity, I would have given them 4 or 5 games just for being dumb. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you getting that off top. I
Listen,
mean, that's just so stupid. It's so dumb. But
listen.
again, people forget. Not to cut you off, sorry. But people forget the
Mm.
other clip he did in and around that time, or maybe slightly before that
Oh,
time.
Yeah.
about the whole look at my guy, he has no clothes on. Like, come on, like it's not it's beyond joke now. It's not even funny. So again, and no one brings that up. It's just the whole candy bar chocolate thing or whatever. So
Yeah.
this guy has a record more than one time. That's a record to me of doing things like this and thinking it's funny. So yeah, I think it finally caught up with him, and hopefully he'll think better the next time. I don't know.
Yeah, if Mendy, I'm pretty sure Mendy doesn't really care about it. If I'm honest, I
And that's a
think
problem. But yeah, yeah,
I think you can see what Mendy really takes as a joke because he's put love
yeah,
in. You know what I mean? So if you're gonna do that, right? If you're gonna have those sort of jokes with each other, keep it to yourself. Keep it to
yeah.
yourself.
Simple
No
as
need
that.
for you to put it on Twitter because it's not a sort of joke where you can, just put it on Twitter and everyone can laugh at it. You know what I mean? People take offense with that. Huge
Yeah.
offense. It's not right. So
No.
listen, as I said, he's taking his punishment, well, his so-called punishment.
Right.
Um, um, can't do anything more about it because if as I said, I think did you tweet it out or someone says so someone tweet I saw it on Twitter. We get £200,000 for putting Pedro Chirivella for half an hour against MK Dons, but
Oh
he
my
gets it.
God, it's ridiculous, man. I mean that puts it in a nutshell. Really, like that's yeah. It's levels to this thing, and it's kind of
I
comical
mean,
levels.
shows the FA don't really care. You know what I mean? It shows the FA really.
No, of course they don't. Of course they
If
don't.
they care, they actually do something about it. You know what I mean? They actually do.
Yeah.
What I love is what I love. I don't know if you saw it. I think it was it. I don't know what Italian team they banned their fan for 11 years for racist. I think until 2030. I don't know if you saw it, but I think
No.
Italian the leader of these ultras, the ultra
Yeah,
fans.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think he was doing he did a racist chant or something, and he got
Oh
banned for
wow.
11 years. 11 years until 2030. I think
Now,
that
how does that work? Is that across football in general? Like, so say his team goes to a Champions League game, or he
uh,
travels out to Turkey or something. Can he go to any stadium or just in Italy?
Well, I'm not sure about that, but
Okay, okay,
I'm not really sure about that. But all I heard was he is banned from that football club's games until
okay,
2030.
okay,
You know what I mean?
okay.
So he's going to be, and those are the sort of punishments that need to be placed in
Yeah,
football.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Those are the sort of punishments, and it's sad to see that in Italy there's a lot of racism. You know what I mean? There is a lot of racism, but people sort of forget that there's a lot of racism in England as well. They sort of just brush it down under the carpet. There's a lot
Thank
of
you,
happen.
thank you,
So
thank you. It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
these
It's not. I
Italians.
don't think it's any worse in Italy than it is in England. Put it like that. You know.
Oh, look at these Russian teams in it doing it. Look at these Italians. It's worse here as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, it
it's
was.
crazy, man. But let's move past that. I think you spoke about rotation and not making changes for the sake of it. It looks like Salah could miss up to a month. Um, Now, a couple of things with this. One, I got to big up Salah because clearly he was playing with the injury, and again, like all the other players on the Liverpool side against City Sunday night, he really stepped up.
Mhm.
Him and Robertson both apparently playing with ankle injuries. We all know the ankle is a part of a body that is quite useful to a football player. So the fact that they were able to run,
I did
put
say,
pressure on
I
it,
did say
good.
before you could. I did say after Villa, I said he might be playing with an injury. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah. And it looks
So,
like, I mean, I was pretty harsh on him, but it looks like he clearly was carrying something, and for him and Robertson to play in that game and play at the
yeah,
level they did, it's just, I mean, you got to commend that. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, like, are you? So the other thing is that I think I talked about Ox and him kind of coming. I think no one would be too upset if he was a start against City, but in
yeah.
hindsight, we're happy with what started. But it looks like it might be time for him to come on. I bring him up to ask you this: as good as he's been in our midfield, could you see him taking up one of those wing positions with Salah allegedly going to be out for a month, or apparently going to be out for a month, or do you feel like we persist with Origi on the wing, Mane, and Firmino down the middle?
Origi is such a weird one because I don't
Because no
like
one knows
Origi.
what's up with Shaqiri right now, so
Ah man, forget about Shaqiri. I mean, he's getting on my nerves now.
yeah,
But it's. I mean, look, with Shaqiri, right? I don't know what he's like. He
yeah,
injured for 3 months. You know, what I mean, playing no football.
yeah.
It's like they made the
It's very
papers.
strange, man. It's very
It's
strange for
very.
me. I don't know
Uh,
what the hell is
there
going
was a,
on. He's the
there
forgotten
was a little,
man.
there was a little dig of Klopp that he said. He said that he's because of his calf. I think that was a dig. If by the way, he said because of his calves, his massive calves, like it takes longer for him to recover. I think that was a dig. But with Origi, I just don't know, man. He doesn't really. he's not a great starter. He's more of a player of an impact player. But with Chamberlain, I'm just not really. I'm not a big fan of him off on the wing. I mean, we saw
Yeah,
in the Super Cup game with Chelsea.
yeah,
He wasn't great in that. I mean, yeah, that was his. I think that was his first start.
yeah. I
Um,
was gonna say, but yeah, I hear what you're saying though.
but yeah, but he just that was his first start in like a year and a half, something in competitive football. So maybe that was being a bit too harsh on him. But and we saw the next game in Southampton where he came on in midfield and had a good game. So yeah, it's just I think Origi will probably start.
Yeah, yeah.
I think he's probably going to be the main option to start, the first choice option. But with James, I think he gives us something different there. But this is where it comes to, what I mean, this is where we'd like someone that can play there. A top talent, maybe like someone like a Jadon Sancho or someone like that. You know what I mean?
Hmm,
So
hmm.
this is
Yeah,
where I can address it in the summer. But
yeah. There
there
was. Go ahead.
was rumors of Ryan Fraser, if you saw it.
I was gonna say yeah, but
Those
I hear what's the guy who kind of poured water on the cold water on yeah James Pierce. So don't know if that's gonna happen, but it could.
that. But I thought it's not gonna happen anymore because obviously he probably and everyone said it's not gonna happen. But I thought that would have been a decent signing to make. I thought maybe
Yeah, yeah.
so. But yeah, I mean I'm not too sure really. I'm not too sure what we're gonna do. I'm just happy that they're not tough fixtures. You know what I mean? They're not really tough fixtures for
Yes.
us. It's kind
Yeah.
of like we've got a few games like Palace away is probably the toughest there. That's a tough game. But I think we can get past that with Salah. Without Salah, what's after that? Napoli at home in the Champions League. You know what I mean? We're basically through anyway, and I think we'd beat
Hmm.
them anyway. Then Brighton at
Yeah.
home, we'll get past them. Everton at home, I think we'll beat them. And who's after that? Bournemouth away and a Watford at home. So I think we're okay. We're okay. I think we'll be fine. But hopefully he's not out for too long. But I think Origi is probably the main choice with Mane in the right wing and Firmino down the middle.
Yeah, that's probably what it'll be. I don't know if he'll try to do too much experimenting with stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think there's a chance. Again, it's good that Origi is that option if he decides to go with it. But I think you're right. He'll probably continue to go with Origi, with Mane on the right and Firmino down the front, which I'm fine with. That team has shown clearly enough. And then, like you said, it almost feels like Klopp probably sat down with Salah and maybe Robertson, which we'll get to in a second, because that looks like it could be slightly severe as well. I mean, look, here's the thing: if you're playing on an injured ankle, the more you play, you're not going to get really better. So, in a way, it feels like maybe we shouldn't have played him through it. But then it's like, I think Klopp might have even just sat them down and said, "Look, just let's get through these games, and then we'll deal with it later." So will that come back to haunt us? I don't know. Um, hopefully it's just a month. If that, maybe it's a little shorter than that. But if it is going to be a month, hopefully it's just that, and it's not anything that's going to linger on. There's not much come out that I've seen on Robertson's situation really, besides that he's carrying a similar knock. So I think in both those positions, we need our best players. The fact that we don't, I think we have worthy guys that can come in and play it. Milner, although I don't think he really loves it, I think can play it. Even Gomez can play on that side. That'll get him more game time, maybe get him back to speed. So yeah, I mean, I think that the fact that Origi is seeing time here and there anyway, it's not like he's going to come in and he hasn't seen the pitch and played with these guys for a long time, so he'll be good. But yeah, I feel really confident going against these next few opponents. Seems like you do as well. Um, is it over? Is the league over after being City being up 9 points over them, 8 points over Leicester and Chelsea? Do you see it as some of these other people are saying now? It's a 3 horse race. If you throw in Chelsea or you throw in Leicester City, yeah, just tell me. Do you after that win? Do you think it's ours or is it just too early to say?
A bit of both. I think it's definitely ours. I think we're gonna win the league, but let's just say that I'm not really in the we've won it.
Okay,
Let's get the parades out and what I mean.
right.
It's still like let's just take it one game at a time. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
what Klopp is doing. Take it one game at a time and that's it because we can't get too carried away. Still a lot of games to go. 26 games to go. Let's just that's a lot of games. You know what I mean? That's still 2 quarters of the season left. So
Yeah,
let's just as I said, take it one game at a time and see how we go. Beat Palace, then move on to Brighton, then move on to Everton. We can't get too ahead of ourselves.
yeah.
But in January, ask me again because I think it could be
Mm,
100% by January. You know what I mean? Ask me that
yeah.
question in the new year. for Christmas, ask me that, then I think I could give you a proper answer. But I think we won anyway. I think we've definitely won the league this season.
Yeah, great answer. I really like that, and I agree. I think it obviously is a long way to go. I'll say this though: I feel more comfortable this season where we are now than I did last season, and it's we've got one loss. I'm sorry, one draw, and we're just finding ways to get it. Now this is going to be a big test now. Not having Salah, possibly not having Robertson. I don't know how much longer Matip is out. And actually, real quick, have you seen this Twitter account of what's it called? Let me see. Give me 1 second. It's called come on, No Context Joel Matip.
Yeah.
Oh man, that just made me love Joe Matip even more. such a great
Yeah,
account, man.
I know that account. That's just brilliant. I mean, I love the dance after Chelsea in the Super Cup final. I think
Oh
that's one of
man, it's so great. But yeah, I just I don't know how much longer Matip will be out. I think Lovren obviously deserves a great shout for the performance he put in against City, and similar to Genie, if we can get that out of Lovren. Right now, it's all about next man up. The guys who haven't been playing, it's your turn to really just not necessarily win your spot back, but just be a part of something great this season and just play your role. Just come in and play your role while we have guys out, and not be like a City team and make excuses. These things happen. It's a long season. We're gonna play a lot. We play a lot of games already. We're gonna play a lot of games this season though, and we just need every single man in that 2020 whatever player team. We just need everybody to really, really just play their role. And when you're called upon, just to come on. So yeah, this will be a big test. Not having Salah for an extended period of time and or Robertson. But
Mm.
if I know anything, this team has shown any kind of test that comes to them, they actually get through it with swimmingly. So I have no real complaint or concern about it. I think we'll be fine. And again, it doesn't hurt that we have pretty favorable amount of or favorable opponents coming up. So is that Palace game the Saturday back? Is it this
Yeah,
or
Saturday.
next Saturday or Sunday?
Yeah, Saturday.
And is that Sellers Park?
3 p.m. So it'll be like
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
11, 10 p.m. 10 a.m. for you.
Yeah, yeah. So looking forward to that. Do you think I don't know if you answered this. Do you think Chelsea and or Leicester can surpass City? Obviously, they surpassed them now as far as points, but just as far as the season goes on, do you think they can be better than City and maybe be the new contender for us, or do you think it's still City?
No, I think it's still City.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you know what? I think after looking at these features, what I said was after January, I think that they'll start to separate. You know what I mean? The top two start to separate from the rest. But looking at the fixtures, I mean, maybe Chelsea could be sort of swimming around, not us, but swimming around City. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Uh,
mm,
if they keep it up. But yeah, I think it'll
yeah.
be. I think the top four will be as it is.
Okay.
Obviously Liverpool first and the rest. I don't know what position they'll be in. I'm not really too
Yeah.
bothered about them. I think City will be second, and then this is just Chelsea, Leicester for third and fourth, in my opinion. Um, so yeah, I think Chelsea and Leicester are both doing brilliant as it is,
Mm,
and it's just about them keeping it going if they can.
yeah.
But I think Liverpool are just miles ahead of everyone in this league at the minute. And let's just hope it stays this way.
I came across something before we came on live about something with UEFA and City and them possibly being thrown out of the European competition. I don't see that happening. I'm not sure your opinions on that, but um, how's that looking for them? I mean, you're a little closer to the action than I am. Does it seem to be a threat that they could lose Champions League football, or is it just kind of like blowing smoke?
Nah, they're just gonna get fined. They won't be banned from the Champions League. That's what I
Okay,
know. Yeah,
okay,
they're just gonna get a fine. That's it. As usual, you know what I mean. But yeah, let's see it be in the Champions League 'cause it's not going to do anything anyway. You know what I mean. So they
yeah,
won't they won't they won't, they won't be winning it anytime soon, especially under this Baldy over here.
yeah,
City's.
yeah. No, I agree. Some of my final thoughts on it. If Pep isn't able to get, which is so hard for some people to fathom, I'd imagine, particularly City fans, if he's unable to get the league, which has been their bread and butter past couple seasons, he's unable to get the Champions League. Maybe wins an FA Cup or one of the league cups. Do you think we can still consider him as a great because he's done so much still, or do you feel like
Yeah.
yeah, okay?
No, because
And do you think that'll boot him out of the Premier League, or do you think he'll come back and try to regain it? Because
um,
you got to imagine the players are feeling a little overworked. I mean, it's 3 seasons. It's hard to win any league. Well, maybe not Serie A, but it's hard to win the Premier League 3 years in a row. And we know how allegedly how tough he is on the players and all that or whatever. Do you think they're just kind of running out of gas, or what's the deal with City?
well, listen, I think if he goes this season at the end of this season, right, and he wins, so let's look about say he leaves this. So what he's won so far in 3 seasons? He's won. Forget the community shields, right? Put that in the bin, right?
Right.
Uh, he's won 2 Premier Leagues, 1 FA Cup, and 2 League Cups.
Hmm.
Cool. If he doesn't win the Premier League or Champions League in the season and he wins, for example, 1 League Cup or an FA Cup or whatever. Let's just add that to it. So two of each, right?
Hmm.
Uh, I mean, uh, considering the amount of money you spent,
Yeah.
that ain't
Nope.
that ain't that great. Because look, in the first year, what did he do? He finished third and won nothing. Second year spends another 200. So he spent a second year overall. He spent like 450 million, 500 million. He wins
Mm.
the Premier League, by clear, 100 points. Won the league in October, so the players weren't feeling the pressure, right? And you also won the League Cup. You won the League Cup again. Playing the likes of Bristol City in the semi-final. So and a disjointed Arsenal in the final.
Mm.
Third season wins the Premier League again. And then he wins the FA Cup and League Cup by playing literally no one. Literally no one. For me, that's not a great achievement, right?
Hmm.
Wins the Premier League last year. You know what? I'll give City credit. Even though, what, forget to spend the money and all that stuff. Last year, I give City massive credit for the way they won the Premier League. With huge competition, with us being right behind them. Big,
Yeah.
big credit. But and then Champions League first season knocked out by Monaco last 16. Second year knocked out by Liverpool, who were basically top four. Third season knocked out by Tottenham in the top four again, who basically finished fourth. So I don't, he hasn't even got to the semi-finals once. You know what I mean? He's not even got to the semi-finals once, and he spent how much money he spent? 600 million, and Sky Sports are now
And
reporting.
and I think I asked this question the last time we were on a hangout, but did he make a semifinal with Bayern?
Yeah, I think he made a couple semi-finals of Bayern. I think
Okay.
one or two, one.
Okay.
But and he got
Okay.
battered 7-0 but got battered 5-0 by Real Madrid on aggregate.
Right. Right. Okay.
So there's your great. And now he wants Johnny Evans and Kangler Soyuncu in January, apparently.
Wow. Hey, you know what? Look. I hope Leicester don't do that. That would be a joke. Especially, I think they have the best defensive record in the league. There's no real need to do that.
Mm.
It's hilarious to see Pep Guardiola scrambling around now trying to save the situation. It's just and that he was always gonna. This is why he was always gonna take the City job because he knew the money was there. He wasn't gonna take Arsenal. He wasn't gonna take United. He wasn't gonna take anybody but City. And you got what you wanted, and you got to make it work. I don't, I know his resume. I know the CV. I get it. He's won pretty much everywhere he's been. But bro, at some point you have got to win the best club trophy, which is the Champions League. I don't, and it's so funny, City fans booing the anthem of the Champions League, saying that we don't care, we want the league is our thing.
Mm.
It's like, and people wonder why folks get on City fans. It's being diluted. It's just how can you not want your club to win the biggest club trophy? And it almost feels like sure I'm sure Pep wants to win it, but it almost feels like he's resigned to just what is he always saying? Oh, we show why we're the champions of England. That's getting tired now,
Yeah.
bro. That's getting tired now. Like, show you the champions of Europe, like Liverpool did, at least once again in your career, just once. And this is probably the best time he has to do
At
it, the
least get
best
to
chance he has to
semi-final.
do it. And then every league they're saying City is a favorite or the best team in the world. How? And what world? How? Is there anyone even on the City roster who's who's performed well in Champions League? Like I don't was so Mendy was at Monaco with Bernardo Silva, right?
Hmm.
And they went to I think a semifinal that one year. Did they not?
Yeah, they got knocked out by Juventus over 2 rounds.
Right. So it's like I'm struggling. I mean, Aguero does nothing in the Champions League. I don't. They don't have that pedigree. They don't have that mentality to do well in Europe. And look,
They also don't have the manager.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That I mean that. Yeah, that's the brainstorm of everything. The
But
brain of
no,
everything. So
no one will talk about it. It's all right. No one talk about it.
I mean, it's just unbelievable, man. So yeah, I don't see why they continue to
What did
get
you say?
good.
What did you say? What did you say a few weeks ago? He said we're not ready.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah, he literally said that. He literally said that in the press conference. So he knows they're not winning no damn Champions League, man. I think again,
It's
he
because they
never
can see.
he
It's
he's
because
never
they.
showed. Go ahead.
It's because they can see too many goals away from home. That's why.
Yep. And they're always trying to fight on that second leg. You can't do that in the Champions League, man.
That's what I mean. And,
Even when I was watching the game back between them and Spurs in the Champions League, and
mm,
even being down 1-0, going to City was a big 1-0. I mean, maybe not in their minds because their City it's just 1-0 would get it back. But if you're always going into a second leg down, there's nothing really good that can come from that. But they seem to
especially,
always go down.
especially with no away goals.
Yeah. So it was just so lovely to see Sterling score the first goal and then Son get one back, and it was like, damn, we need three now. I think it was. So
Yeah,
you know,
and they went 2 up, and they went 4-2 up, and then they still missed out. You know what I mean?
yeah. I
So,
mean, it's just really a joke, man.
and then Sterling scores a goal, doesn't he? And the VR rules it out, which was just brilliant. It was so great to see Pep Guardiola celebrating,
Yeah.
thinking he's gonna do, and he just didn't.
I think a
So
similar thing happened with I think this happened this season against Spurs. He was arguing with Aguero, then they
he's
kind of hugged and kissed and made up, and then they realized, oh shit, that
yeah,
wasn't worth putting up for the cameras because we
yeah,
didn't get it again.
yeah. Him and Aguero must have obviously had a little argument, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is the perfect opportunity for me to hug Aguero and make up again."
Yep.
And
Yep.
he's
On
like,
camera and everything. Yep. Yep.
when it all gets to
Hilarious.
cement, like, "Oh bloody hell, why did I do that?"
Yep.
So,
Um, I love the idea that people think it's conspiracy against City. But speaking on Sterling, let's just briefly get to the Gomez thing. I have a feeling that you're like me. It's not it's a huge deal being made of it that doesn't really need to be made. But just talk me through that, and then we can maybe even speak about the booing. And I guess it makes me. I start now. I kind of see why Scousers are saying like we're not English, we're Scouts, and we don't really follow the English team.
mm,
Um, it's a real joke to see people booing Gomez. I mean, come on. Not let alone a player who's wearing your shirt. I didn't really like what Southgate had to say after either. I think that was a bit weak what he came out with after the booing. But that's my opinion. What's your opinion on the Sterling Gomez thing? Do you care? Where does it stem from? I mean, I think I got to commend Gomez for being the ultimate professional through all of this. But yeah, just what's your thought between the Sterling and Gomez thing?
yeah. Well, obviously, Coleman picks him up like a little kid and chucks him away, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And then Sterling obviously reacts, and he's probably seen that on social media, and he's probably
Right.
and that's probably fueled him up even more. You know what I mean? That's probably given him
And I'm
more.
sure his boys are like, bro, you can't let that slide.
Exactly. So when he's gone in, right, he's gone in, thinking he's the big man as well, and gone in to carry in the second day. That's childish. You know what
I
I mean?
know.
That is
I
very
know.
childish. And I don't know why they're booing. I don't know why they're booing Gomez. I'll get onto that later. But yeah, I mean, obviously he scratches him. And I don't know what happened. Apparently, maybe it was someone that trying to break up the fight scratched Gomez, which is nonsense. It's clearly Sterling.
Yeah.
And just because Sterling got lit, he was absolutely going crazy on Sunday.
Hmm.
Henderson got in his head. Alexander Arnold got in his head.
Yep.
Robertson got in Walker's head. Everyone got in Pep's head. The fans got in.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
that was such a lovely moment to see Pep talking to the fan. Oh, I love that.
yeah, you
That
know what I
did
mean?
you did you catch that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, I
And
love
then,
that, man. That's great.
obviously Liverpool fans calling Sterling, saying Sterling, there's only one greedy bastard and all that stuff. That was brilliant, wasn't it? Um,
Mm-mm.
Brilliant to see, and that all that built up inside Sterling, and when Gomez picked him up off the ground and chucked him, that topped it off, didn't it? It really topped him off. It really topped the whole thing off. And listen, I don't know why people are booing Joe Gomez. Why is it his fault? Why has Joe Gomez done? What has he honestly done? You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Obviously, we're not scouts. Obviously, we're from different parts of the world. We're still
Right.
Liverpool. Let me say this: I've never supported Liverpool. I've never supported England in my life.
Mm.
Uh, in terms of national team. You know, I'm
Mm.
it's not that, you know, it's not because, listen, I'm not a big fan of national football. I watch the World Cup and Euros, but I don't really support a team. I just watch
Right.
it. Just because
Mm.
I live in England, you know, I don't support England. I don't
Mm.
support England. So, you know, I don't sit there with my England shirt on and start supporting them, you know, shouting,
Yeah.
let's go team and all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I just like watching football when it comes to the World Cup and Euros, just something to pass by until the new season starts. You know what I
Right.
mean? So there's only one team I support in it's Liverpool.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know, same for you. Do you support USA?
No, no, that's what I say. I agree. Same thing. Same thing.
Yes, you know what I mean. So it's
If
not really.
anything, I'm looking at players that maybe Liverpool can look at. You know, can could
Yeah,
could recruit.
exactly.
That's about it. That's about it.
Exactly what I mean. So yeah, when it comes to World Cups and Euros, like if it's a match between the Brazil or Germany, maybe there's one thing I'm like, you know, come and, you know, sort of supporting them, but it's not really, you know, full backing, shirts on and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So, but when
Right.
Gomez got booed, it was disgraceful, absolutely disgraceful. I don't understand. And Southgate, obviously, you can show you the weakness in him. You know,
Yep.
it just showed out after that press conference. Oh yeah, oh it's, you know, you're speaking so yeah, it's wrong. You know, I don't understand it. He's only speaking like that because he's scared of England. He's scared of the England fans. You know, he doesn't want to become. He doesn't want to
Oh
become.
yeah, that's exactly why he's doing it. That's exactly why he's doing it.
You know, what I mean, he doesn't want to become a villain towards
Public
them.
enemy number one. Yeah. Yeah.
He doesn't want to be against them. You know what I mean? So,
Hmm.
you know, apparently Gomez was the first inside the dressing room and the first out. You know what I mean? So,
Mm.
you know, this was so, you know what I mean? Get out of that England camp, you know, and come back to Klopp for a few months, and then start getting some game time and forget England. You know, forget these mugs. You know, forget Gareth Southgate, forget Raheem Sterling. You know, focus on your club football, not these though, because if John Stones is playing ahead of you, I mean and Michael Keane's playing ahead of you, and Tyron Mings is playing ahead of you. I think that's when you know
That
that
sums it up.
Gareth
That
Southgate
sums it up.
sums it up, doesn't it? When
Yep.
Tyron
That
Mings
sums it up. Tyrone Mings. Oh my
Ah,
god.
Tyrone Mings and Michael Keane. Michael Keane's getting dropped by Mason Holgate at the minute.
Wow.
So, and he's apparently ahead of Gomez because he plays football. So stick me in the Everton team and let me play
Holgate.
football.
Whoa. Holgate is part of the England team.
No, no, Everton team.
Oh, I was gonna say. Damn. Okay.
He's dropped Keane. Keane is on the bench. I mean, because apparently the logic is Michael Keane was playing football. You know what I mean? But even though they were getting bad, you know, so I've got a British passport. I'm a British citizen. I've got a British
Hmm.
passport. Why don't, you know what I mean? If I play for Everton, does that mean, you know, I suddenly get in the England team? Doesn't even matter how bad I'm playing because that's there's logic behind it. You know
Yep.
what I mean? So I really don't understand it. But listen,
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm not. I wasn't. I think the English media they just love a story, don't they? They love
Yep.
that
Got to talk
story.
about something. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really surprised with it.
Yeah. I'm just really pleased with Gomez, and I think, obviously, I think Gomez is just a decent person anyway. But I think a lot of that stems from, in my opinion, the managers involved. I think Klopp sets an example and leads by example, and you can tell by the way these guys speak in their post match and their interviews. You can tell it's them. It's their parenting and how they were raised, but it's also this incredible manager that's leading them, and I think he just kind of sets a example of how to conduct yourself. Whereas Sterling, his manager is Pep Guardiola, and clearly, um,
And who's his agent as well?
oh, I forgot about that. Damn, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. So listen, man, I don't dislike Sterling as a person, and I think there's some Liverpool fans who, and rightfully so, I guess, have a feeling about the way he left. I get that, but I don't
You know
hate the
what?
guy. I don't wish
You
the worst on him.
Yeah, really. Thing with Sterling is, listen, the way I've never since he came out. I don't know if you saw it. Do you remember the obviously BBC? The BBC is obviously it's a broadcasting thing in England.
Yep.
Did you remember seeing that interview, the 10-minute interview where he talks to some woman about he's in 2015 in April 2015. Have you
When he
seen it? I
wanted to
don't know if
leave.
it's when he wanted to leave. It's like a
Yeah, yeah,
10
yeah, yeah.
minute
Of
interview.
course. Yeah, I've seen it.
So he comes out. That's in April 2015. We're still in a sort of fight for top four. We're still in
Hmm.
a FA Cup final. So we're about to make it to FA Cup semi final. So we're through all of that, right? And then he's coming out with an interview talking about how the interest with Arsenal's flattering, right? You know,
Hmm.
and stuff. And since then, I was like, get lost, just get lost. And after that, he's coming out with last year. He's coming out with in 2018, like in the interview. I don't know if you've seen that interview. He's like, oh, you know, we want to make sure that we don't slip up. Basically, talking about Gerrard. We want.
Mm,
Well,
I don't
I'm,
remember that one. Wow.
I'm sure no one wants that. I'm sure, like, we don't want that. I don't want that. I'm sure no one wants that. Basically saying that no one wants Liverpool to win the league. Do you know what I mean?
Mm,
And not trying to act like he's some, joker. When he was basically part of that Liverpool team that could have won a title. Do you know what I
mm-hmm.
mean? And he could have had another title to his name. So, um, and the question has to be asked: would he have left if we'd won the title? Would he have left a year later? I still think he would have. I
I
still
do
think he
too.
would.
Actually, I'm glad you asked that question. I think he still would have. Yeah.
Because he still, still think this guy is money driven, and I still think he would leave Manchester City. Maybe will next year or maybe the year after, and he will leave for Real Madrid. He will leave for Real Madrid because Madrid made the offer for him, didn't they? A few weeks ago, 70
Mm-hmm.
million plus Gareth Bale,
Mm-hmm.
which was obviously accepted. And he's also said at the start of last season that he said he wants to move abroad. He said that not to Germany because the language is difficult, but he said maybe Spain. So he's obviously looking at that situation, and there's been rumors about it. I mean, obviously he didn't sign the contract last time, and he signed it now because City must have given him a massive wage.
Mm,
So Sterling is that type of guy. I know what the interviews come out. A lot. He disrespects Liverpool a lot. He disrespects us a lot.
mm-hmm.
Because we made him a player. Brendan Rodgers, whatever you think of him as a manager or a person, Brendan Rodgers put him in that team for 2012-13 season, the 13-14 season,
Mm-hmm.
playing 30 plus Premier League games every single season as an 18, 19-year-old, and put him in the spot that he used to drop Felipe Coutinho to play a front three of when everyone was fit, the front three used to be Sturridge, Suarez, and Sterling. You remember at Old
Mm-hmm.
Trafford? That's what we
Oh
played
yeah.
at home to all these at home to Spurs. Well, that's what we played. You know what I mean? Then Sturridge got injured, then Coutinho came in the team, and there was a rotation. But that's what the front three used to be: Sterling, Sturridge, and Suarez. So Sterling was dropping Felipe Coutinho. You know what I mean? So he was playing. I used to love Sterling as a player back then. I used to love Raheem Sterling. I really used to like him. You know what I mean? And I think, you know what? He just looked like he was more hungry than there was this different desire in him as a player, and this different sort of game style, uh, play style. Sorry. I'm not saying that he lacks desire or anything because, as I said, he's doing fantastic work at the minute for City, but it's more the game style. He used to play as a sort of number 10, or I mean, I used to love the way he used to play for Liverpool. The fluid, the positioning, everything. Moving on the right side, left side, attacking field. I think Brendan Rodgers had built a fantastic attack back then. And it was because we didn't. It's because of the defense why we didn't win the title that year because we shipped 50 goals. But as I said, Sterling at Liverpool was fantastic, really, really good. And as a player, as I said, I was a big fan of him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think. Listen, Sterling is still a young talent, still going to do some things for City. I think he's been put in a position, and one thing I'll give Pep credit for, to what we're seeing from Sterling is clearly his talents, yes, but just in a system where and a coach that actually believed in him. Not to say Rodgers didn't, but at one point Rodgers was playing this guy all over the pitch, wing back, full. I mean, he's playing him all
Yeah,
over the
that
pitch.
was more of the 14-15 season, wasn't it? Where
Yeah, yeah. So I can't really be mad at him on that one. But
I don't
you
blame
know,
him for leaving. I don't.
yeah,
There's no chance. I don't blame him for leaving because thinking. I think if Klopp came, I think he would have stayed. I think he would have maybe given Klopp a chance. I mean, I think he would have actually given given Klopp a chance to sort of maybe prove it to him because he obviously would have been a a key part in that team if he came. So I think if Klopp came in, if Klopp was in that, if Klopp came sort of, for example, if Klopp was a season earlier, if Klopp came a season earlier, I think he maybe would still be at the club. Maybe it is possible, but at the same time, I don't think he would have because, as I said, of his hunger for money.
yeah,
So but that's the sort of player he is, isn't it? So if he, as I said, he can eat. We've got Mane, Salah, better players than him all round. So Liverpool's a winner in this one.
yeah. Never in a million years that I think once he left Liverpool, he'd be better off than
Yeah,
Coutinho would have been when he left. So
And do you think, and do you think, yeah, exactly. Sterling's come out much better than Coutinho, hasn't he?
yeah,
You know,
way better. I never would have expected that, but yeah.
whatever. But the thing is, as well, you look at it, right? If we go on to win the Premier League this season, right, what we would have had a Premier League and the Champions League and the Super Cup. Maybe we won a Club World Cup. We won a Club World Cup as well. We won all those trophies, right? In that time, a Champions League, the biggest one. With Sterling, he could have possibly won two Premier Leagues, an FA Cup, a couple
Hmm.
of League Cups.
Yep.
And you'd be a fan favorite for Liverpool. You know, you'd have all the fans behind you and all that stuff. Do you know what I mean? So, who do you know? What position would you rather be in? And
Yep.
remember, you remember last season we only lost the league by 1 point as well, so we could have had two Premier Leagues opposed to City's one if it wasn't for maybe a draw against Leicester. So, do you know what I mean? So, you know, I wouldn't say he's upgraded massively. You know what I mean? I
Mm.
wouldn't say that he's upgraded massively. I think he's doing well at City. Well done to him, but I wouldn't say he's upgraded massively and gone to a different level in terms of a club. You know what I mean? Maybe for the short term, maybe yes. But as you can see, Liverpool have come back in a few years' time. We've come back to a different level and a better level than City, as you can see now, and we're just going to keep on getting better and better.
And I'm gonna say this, man. I don't know if you agree, but if Liverpool somehow get back to the Champions League final and win it and win the league, these last two seasons for Liverpool, in my opinion, are way better than the two seasons City had winning the league back to back. Especially if
Mhm.
we top their 100 points this season, which looks possible. If we keep going this way, it looks possible. I know it's a big ask, but even if we don't, let's say we don't surpass the 100 points, which I think we have a big chance to do or a good chance to
Invincible,
do, just winning it.
invincible,
If you back to back Champions Leagues and you win a league, that
and invincible.
you can't. Yeah, oh, yeah, well, yeah, Dave. That's see that. And if we do that too, I don't want to hear anything about the City team and how amazing they were and world breaking or record breaking. I
No,
don't care. If
no,
Klopp
Aaron.
does this with this team back to back seasons, I don't want to hear
You know
Guardiola's
what?
name ever again. Go ahead.
You know what, mate? We could have done that last season
I know, I know, I
if it
know,
wasn't for
I
20
know,
minutes of
I
Dejan's
know.
Lovren's stupidity, right? Um,
I mean that, or if it wasn't the clearance from John Stones.
John Stones or the defender. Listen, it's a bit of both, isn't it? I think. Okay, let's say if Joe Matip was in that team or Joe Gomez was in that team, fit and firing.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah,
I think we go into because I remember after that game, Lovren didn't have a good game. He did not have a good game. I remember the second goal he had this position was poor for that one as well. If you look
yeah,
at it, back at it, you know what I mean.
yeah.
So maybe sometimes, yeah, maybe I was being a bit too harsh there. But I do know that he cost us in that game massively.
No, no,
Uh,
no. You're right. I agree with that.
so as I was saying, yeah. So if we go on to draw that game, right, we end up with 98 points. City end up with 96
Hmm.
and we become invincible, win the Premier League and win the Champions League. So we will
That
basically,
close. That
so we will
close, bro.
be like one game away from doing everything. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's just
That's
this is
why
the
it's
fight.
amazing to me that people say they won't go undefeated. I mean, we pretty much. I know we didn't, but we were fine margins away from doing it last season. So what makes you think we can't go ahead and
This
do it?
team's
I mean,
miles
we looked at we
ahead
looked to
of
be even doing better things this year. So
Arsenal's Invincibles anyway. You know what I mean?
oh,
It's
no
not
doubt,
even
no doubt,
it's not close
no
to
doubt.
it. Arsenal's Invincibles team drew 12 games. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean? They drew 12 games. That ain't great. They got like 90 points. 90 points that's a standard thing for a Premier League season.
yeah,
So,
yeah. But I mean, wow. If we if we going to go to back to back
well,
Champions Leagues, win them, and get the league this year, that's crazy.
I think we're going to go to the Champions League final and win it again this season, if I'm honest with you, because I'm looking at the teams. I'm looking at, okay, let's just go through it quickly. PSG, not interested in that in them now. Not.
Yeah.
Atletico Madrid, not scared.
Although I'll say this, let's stay with PG for a second. Although I do, even with the whole Neymar's in and out of the lineup, with them adding Icardi and with the form of what's the Argentinian guy who played with United for a season?
Di Maria.
Yeah, with him playing well, them getting Idris Gay. Listen, man. I know it sounds crazy, but I think they might have a better run this season in the Premier League and in the Champions League. I could be wrong, but I just something tells me they'll do better. Now, better could mean just going
So,
to the next round or not. But
they've got,
I we'll see. But yeah, but yeah, I don't look at their team and think Liverpool can't beat them. That's for sure.
Yeah, because I think they didn't get to the quarter. I think they haven't got the quarterfinals in like 3 seasons, isn't it? Something like
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while.
that. So I mean, so I think they will go at least to the quarterfinals this time,
Yeah,
unless they get drawn to Barcelona or I don't know, or Juventus something. I don't know.
yeah.
Then even then, I'm not too sure because Juventus don't trust them. I don't trust them under
Not at
Sarri.
all. Not at all.
Or
Especially with
uh,
Sorry, I don't trust him. Especially with
yeah,
Sorry.
Barcelona give it a break with Valverde, no chance.
Oh yeah.
Um, Real Madrid is stand. No, no, not at all. Um, I'm looking at City, concede too many goals. Spurs, have a laugh. Uh,
Bayern.
Bayern, no chance.
Yeah. I mean,
Dortmund,
there's no
no chance.
one that really gives me any. None of these. Dortmund's a joke. Dortmund's a joke. I'm tired of even thinking that they could do anything. Especially in the Bundesliga, but they're
They're,
done in
they're,
the Champions League
they're
to
in a
me.
title race every single year. They go and get battered by
Yeah,
you know,
they're no. I can't trust them, man. No.
so no
If
chance with
anything,
them.
it might be another surprise team like Ajax. Every
Well,
year, every other year, they might. One of those teams can make some
Ajax.
noise.
I think Chelsea could
I was gonna say next Chelsea. Chelsea's a team people got to look out for.
because Chelsea, I think the brand of football they play, if they can tighten up a bit, if they can get Rudiger back as well, although Kurt Zuma's actually playing really well,
Tamori,
if
that dude, that kid Tamori, man,
yeah, Tomori has
he's a
been really
player,
good.
man. He's a player.
So Chelsea got a good team. Chelsea got a good team there in the making, and I think Frank Lampard's doing a brilliant job. And obviously, it is still tight because there's 2 games left, and Chelsea, Valencia, and Ajax have all got 7 points. So it's quite tight in that group. So have to wait and see. I
Yeah,
hope Chelsea and Ajax do go through. I do want those teams to go through and see what they do. But again, I expect us to go far and win the Champions League this season again. I do because we're built for European football. We are built for
yep,
European football.
yep. And
Um,
then Klopp doesn't get knocked out of the two-legged affair. So
Exactly. So I think we're gonna win the Champions League again this season. Just like I said last season. I said we were gonna win it last season, and we did win it last season. I think we're gonna win it
yep,
again this year.
yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, man. And again, I think
And it's in Istanbul.
right. So that's very fitting. And I think I wouldn't be surprised again if there's two representatives from England in the Champions League semifinal. And that's the thing is there's always all this talk about what the best league is. I'm not really sure why there's talk. It's obviously the Premier League. I mean, I don't, I know people say, oh, it's the most entertaining and most money, but I think it's just the best. 1 to 20 so the teams. I just think we've got the best league in the world,
Is
and
I
we've
think
shown that past couple seasons.
yeah. I think this year sort of like some teams are really letting it down. Some teams like Spurs, Arsenal, United are letting it down.
Yeah, yeah,
They're letting it down because of their managers, their teams and all the issues they have. But you look at it, Chelsea stepped up, Leicester stepped up,
yep.
Sheffield United have stepped up. You know what I mean? So it's great to see. It's really, really good to see.
I'm, I'm,
And I'm
I'm,
happy.
yeah, I'm curious about Leicester, man, because remember they won the league when they didn't have any European football. So I think as far as fitness and stuff like that, they will be one of the teams that hang around if they stay in this form. Now I know it's early and you never really know, but if they stay in this form, they could definitely get back to Europe. Now them winning it because they don't have Champions League, I don't see that happening. But I do think because us, City, and Chelsea have European football amongst other games, especially for Liverpool, Club World Cup and all that. I think it does give Leicester a bit of an advantage in the way that just simply because they don't have anything to do during the week. So they'll
Mm.
be that much more fresher, that much more fitter than these other teams. Will they take advantage of that and punch their weight up to the top of the league or topper in the league? Well, are they second right now? Or is it Chelsea second? How's it go?
Leicester second on goal
That's the
difference.
second. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, so we'll see. It'll be interesting, but no, I agree. I think Liverpool definitely can and probably will get back to that final and win it really because again we just talked about all the teams and none of those teams give me any concern. None of them.
Mm.
Um, I mean, how far we've come that we can actually say that. That we're the Champions League and we feel like we can win it year upon year on as long as Klopp is there. I mean, that's a crazy feeling,
Champions
man.
League is massive, isn't it? Champions League is such a tough competition to win, and for us to just say that, I expect us to win it. No one says that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. But that's the level that we're at now. That's the level that we're at now. So, gonna try to enjoy this break, man. I think
Yeah,
this will probably be one of the first breaks in a long time that I'm actually don't mind sitting through, especially after that
second.
win.
I mean, it's already Friday,
I know, right? It's almost over. It's almost over. So
so I'm looking once it gets around Monday and stuff, so it was like, whatever. So it's over. You know what I mean? So I'm not. I've actually enjoyed the break because we're 9 points clear. Take a nice little
Hmm.
break. Just put my mind away from football for a bit and just relax because I'm not watching England. I haven't been watching England. I haven't been watching anything. I'm
Oh
not.
yeah, I
I
don't
don't
get
watch
into
the
the
national
international
football
football.
unless it's the Euros and World Cup and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, just be relaxing.
Yeah, man. So we'll thanks for making time. We'll get back sometime between now and the Palace game for some
Yeah,
more chat, and hopefully, knock on wood. Again, Salah's not too banged up, and we don't
yeah.
have any other
Gonna
injuries.
have to wait and see what Klopp says next Friday, I think. So there's press
Yeah,
conference.
yeah. So I look forward to that, man. And enjoy your weekend. I'll talk to you soon.
You two, see you later, mate.
All right, bro.